Okay. Mike, check it, Shantae Arnett. What's going on, you guys? We got a different video going on today. We're doing another Essays with Essay. And I'm bringing to you guys um, a little conversation about random topics that I just feel are on my heart or that I get inspired to speak on from things I see in the media. And I wanted to create a separate show outside of a POC, POV, and in my queer view to talk about things outside of specifically the Black and queer experiences and just give my thoughts on different topics that you guys may relate to. So this is episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about cancel culture because I I'm somebody who grew up in a period that was before social media, but was right on the cusp and the creation of social media. Ooh, I'm a little ashy. Hold on. I ain't got no lotion down here. I'll do it ashy, it's fine. I'll just put on lotion before in my queer view. Okay. Cancel culture. I'm somebody who grew up before social media, and I'm somebody who was coming of age during the creation of social media. So I'm somebody who is fortunate enough to be in a generation that sees and has seen both sides of social interaction before and after. And I have seen cancel culture become something that is this major thing in the past few years. And it's something that it's one of those things that it should be under that list of everything in moderation, because it's something that, if done appropriately, it can be utilized as a great symbol of unification throughout the community. But like most things, it becomes oversaturated and it becomes something that is used out of proper context, and it becomes a situation where you stop taking it seriously. So I want to kind of take a little dive into cancel culture and do a quick video on cancel culture, what it is. I want to give an example of cancel culture and my thought on the situation. And can somebody be redeemed, and what redemption culture is, why I think it should become just as big a thing as cancel culture. And I have a few more things that I want to talk about, but we'll get into it later on in the video. So I'm going to start off by, excuse me, defining what cancel culture is. And then I'm going to get into an example of cancel culture and kind of dissect that as an example, I guess. Whatever. Okay. Cancel culture describes a form of boycott in which the called out person is also thrust out of social or professional circles, either on social media or in the real world, or both. They are said to be canceled. So basically, somebody does something that the general public finds to be offensive, and they automatically chop that person from society. Their career is done. They're done as a person, and they committed an act against a community, and they need to be held accountable for it and punished by being canceled. Plain definition of cancel culture, right? One of the most prevalent examples of cancel culture, not even prevalent, just the most recent examples of cancel culture that I could think of off of the top of my head when I was making notes about this video, was Kevin Hart and his LGBT jokes, right? Um, I want to talk about what he did to get canceled, my issue with what he did and how he handled it, and how I think he could have avoided the situation. Because while I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan, I do think that he is a huge representative for the Black community right now, and he is one of the biggest names in Hollywood as a representative for the Black community in this country. So, if there's a way that we can teach him or inspire him to see the situation from a different perspective, then maybe we can all come together instead of just exiling people to another country and just banning them to an island. So, the reasons Kevin Hart got canceled is because he made offensive jokes at the expense of the LGBT community, some specifically in the context of his son's behavior and his reaction to it if he saw his son behaving in a way that he deemed to be quote unquote gay. Right? And first, he refused to apologize because he said that he had already apologized and that they needed to just get over it because he apologized for it already. He's not going over it again. He's not addressing it. And so y'all need to just deal with it. Okay? My problem with the situation is, and not even my problem with the situation, but my problem with the way that he handled it was, okay, we can find the old tweets of you making the homophobic remarks, but we can't find the old apologies. To this day, we still haven't seen the old apologies, right? We still haven't seen the apologies. So I want to, instead of just going off and wearing his ass out, I think I want to rather address how he could have avoided the situation. And I think if he would have handled it a different way, that we could have just taken it and moved on and it would have been cool. Excuse me. I feel like if he apologized before, he could have just doubled down on the apology and apologized again. All of this happened on Twitter. All you had to do was dig up the old tweets of you apologizing or dig up the receipts of you apologizing, whether you did it on Facebook, whether you did it on Instagram, if it was around at the time, whatever. Wherever you apologized for this, Tumblr, wherever, post the screenshots of the apologies and double down. All you had to do was say, hey, these old tweets resurfaced. I know that they're problematic. I apologize. I apologized for them before. Here's proof of that. And I want to reinforce that apology and say that, the error of my ways have been brought to my attention and this behavior was wrong. Boom. We could have taken that, been like, boom, and we would have stood up for you, okay? And by we, I mean the queer community. We would have stood up for you and been like, okay, well, fine. Why y'all tripping? He done already apologized for it. We get it. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? He done doubled down on the apology. Boom. What y'all talking about? Okay. Mind you, all of this was in context of him being in line to host the Oscars. So to further that and to throw him some material, had he just doubled down on the apology, posted the screenshots, he could have He could have pivoted this into a joke for his opening monologue at the Oscars, and he could have posted the old screenshots and the new screenshots up at the Oscars and made it into a joke and been like, okay, so y'all can find my old sins, but not my old apologies. But, you know, whatever. And we would have been instantly on your side. Black people, queer people, we would have instantly been on your side. Well, specifically black queer people. We would have been on your side. Had you just, you know, doubled down on the apology, made it a thing, and been like, okay, well, look, y'all found my old tweets. Here's my old apologies. And again, LGBT people, my bad. I made some fucked up jokes in the past. I realized that they were not okay. And here is, you know, another formal apology. We would have took that and you know, just left it alone. However, if you did not actually apologize, what you could have done to address this, curve it, and move on was not say, I already apologized, so I'm not talking about it again, right? What would have been a better action for you is to just apologize. Like, bro, it's cool. We all make mistakes. Like, we get it. We know what type of, you know, we know what type of generation you come from, and we know how the generation you come from looks at the LGBT community. We get it. We understand what type of lineage taught you to be homophobic. So it's cool. And this isn't a read on Kevin Hart's parents or the way that they raised him. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that generations before us did not have the open mind that generations today have. And so I can understand him being raised to be homophobic, or him growing up with homophobic influences predominantly in his space, whether it be his parents, whether it be his parents, whether it be his siblings, whether it be his friends at school, whoever, influences at church, all of that. The generation that he grew up in, homophobia was okay and it was a thing. Like, it was, you know, that's just what it was. There was no understanding for the LGBT community, so I can understand him making these jokes. So had you just apologized, if you didn't already apologize, we would have been like, oh, okay, cool, you know, we get it. He said he's sorry, let him host the Oscars, you know, whatever. Let him be the shortest Oscar host in history, and we would have kept it pushing, and that would have been that. But enough about Kevin Hart. I'm glad he recovered from his car accident, and I'm glad he's doing well. Let him continue to go forth and prosper. I hope that he learned something from all of this, because he did eventually issue an apology to the LGBT community that I will acknowledge and appreciate. It is what it is. You got to start somewhere. So even if y'all don't accept it, I'm going to accept it because he offered it, and hopefully, you know, we won't have to have this conversation again. Okay. That leads me into what types of things should we be canceling? Because I'm not saying that I feel like we should just cancel culture. I feel like cancel culture needs to be more properly utilized, and it needs to be regulated, and like everything, done in moderation. So I feel like there's a way to do cancel culture, and there's a way to execute cancel culture. In my opinion, I feel like we should be canceling people who commit offensive acts, are called to action and held accountable of their behavior, but continue the behavior with knowledge that it's offensive, right? So, like, what I'm saying is, if somebody commits an act that's offensive, we don't automatically cancel them because they committed an act that's offensive. I feel like we should actually take a moment to educate them, make sure that they know that the action is offensive, and then give them the space to either change or continue. Excuse me. I think that we should cancel somebody who does something wrong, we call them out for it, not even necessarily call them out. As Monique and Sydney would say, call them in so that we can educate them and not attack them and hold them accountable of their behavior. And if they continue this behavior, then cancel their ass, because you're willingly committing an action that's offensive, knowing that it's offensive. That means that your intention is to be offensive. So that is what it is. Ooh. Ooh, child. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was about to get into another point, and that apple juice came out with it. Where do I think the line is? Where's the line between somebody... Where do I think the line is where cancel culture goes too far? Is what I'm trying to say. The line is canceling someone for committing offensive behavior versus canceling someone who continues offensive behavior. It's like I was saying, I feel like in today's society, we cancel people simply for committing offensive behavior. And we have this thing where we just expect people to know that something is offensive, right? Sorry, I jumped y'all. My tablet was about to fall and I didn't want it to slip. I'm gonna just move it right here. Hold on, y'all, I'm sorry. Quick interruption. I'm sorry. Okay. So what was I saying? The line. I feel like in today's society, we cancel people simply for committing an action that's offensive, whether we know that they know that it's offensive or not. We have this thing where we assume and we just expect people to know that something is offensive because the behavior is offensive and we think it's offensive. We have to take into context that people out there are raised differently. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody sees our community and our culture the same way. So there are going to be times where there are people who will say some shit that is crazy and out the box offensive, and they just don't know that it's offensive. It happens. It does happen. So I feel like we have to take the moment, take a step to educate and make sure that they know what they're doing is offensive before we proceed to canceling them. I feel like the line is not canceling somebody just for committing the action, but we cancel them for continuing the action, right? So on the flip side of that, on the flip side of cancel culture, luckily, we are beginning to build what is called redemption culture, right? And that is something that I'm glad that is coming into play, that is countering cancel culture, because I feel like it's become something that doesn't have a checks and balances system. So cancel culture is just running wild, and any offensive behavior is punishable by being canceled without an opportunity to redeem yourself in the media. So by my definition, cancel culture is giving someone the space and opportunity to show growth from their past mistakes after they take proper accountability for their specific actions that got them called out. The reason I said specific actions that got them called out is because I'm somebody who does not accept if apologies. You know, Janet Jackson, "If" is my favorite music video of all time. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. But I don't accept if apologies, and you know, Janet Jackson, she's not accepting any apologies. If you saw Four Color Girls, catch. people have a tendency to be like, well, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. If I offended anyone in the community, I apologize. And I think that's BS, because you wouldn't feel the need to apologize for something if you weren't called out on it. You know what I mean? So if you were called out on something, there's a reason for it. Somebody was offended. You upset somebody with your actions, therefore leading them to call you out on it and letting you know that the behavior is offensive, therefore leading to this apology. So I don't understand why the word if is even being used, like you're questioning that somebody was hurt or offended by your actions. You're making this apology because somebody was offended. So saying, I'm sorry if, or I apologize if, that kind of cancels out and tries to belittle the recipient of the apology. And that's just offensive all in itself. So if somebody can take true accountability for their actions and truly hold themselves accountable and make the change, make that change. If somebody can truly take the initiative to change their behavior after being called out for their actions, then I feel like they are well within their right to have a key to the redemption room, okay? How can somebody gain public redemption after completely fucking up? Speaking for myself, it's all in the definition. It's all in the definition that I just gave. If you can take responsibility for your actions after being called out and truly hold yourself accountable and make the proper adjustments to your behavior, then we can wash it and we can square it and it's cool, right? Okay. When someone is held accountable for their actions and they receive the criticism or the critique non-combatively, that to me shows that somebody is ready for growth and they're ready for change. A lot of people, when they get called out on their actions, they immediately go into a defense mechanism because people don't like being told that they're wrong and people don't like being called out. And in this social media era that we live in and this social media generation, a lot of people get called out on social media and nobody likes to get embarrassed. Nobody likes to be called out in front of people and have their grievances and have their issues that could have been talked about between the two people aired out. Now, whether that person tried to have a private conversation with you before they aired your ass out on social media is a situational context that I can't address because I'm not giving specific examples. But nobody likes to get called out in front of people and have their laundry laid all across the damn yard, is what I'm saying. If they can receive their stuff non-combatively and address it in a non-hostile manner and truly commit to the issue and be like, okay, hey, I see where you're coming from. I see where I offended you. This is what I want to say, and I apologize. Please forgive me. Then, done, right? So with that being said, I want to ask y'all to drop down in the comments. And I want y'all to tell me, who have y'all seen get canceled that deserves a key to the redemption room? I don't know if the redemption room is actually a thing, but I wrote it by accident when I was making my notes and I just thought it was cute, so I'm gonna just call it a thing. Instead of being redeemed and make this like it's a religious thing, I'm gonna say who deserves a key to the redemption room, like it's a VIP spot, like it's the VIP room down to the club. I wanna know Who did y'all see get canceled who you feel like deserves to have a comeback and deserves to be given a clean slate by the public? I have a personal example that I want to get into, and I feel like I'm gonna piss some people off. I'm gonna piss some black people off, and it's fine because my opinions do not represent the general opinions of all black people. I am an individual, and my opinions are my own. So I also want to use my platform to open up and receive comments and conversation from you guys on my opinions and educate me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing these shows to be the voice of black people or the voice of queer people. I'm just being a voice in the black community and a voice in the queer community, speaking on my own personal experiences. So when you watch my videos, I don't want you to feel like watching my videos is the way to get to know black people or to get to know queer people. It's the way to get to know me. And it may offer some insight into other black people and other queer people and other specifically black queer people. If you've seen the movie Coffee Date, you know why I keep forming those communities like that in sentences. But back to the redemption room and who I think I want to give a key to. Shane Dawson. Come on down to the velvet rope, baby. Because I think that Shane Dawson is someone who deserves a key to the redemption room. I feel like he has taken his ass whipping. He's taken his dragging. He's gotten called out on social media and public platforms. He's done some really offensive shit, some racially charged things, and he's taken his responsibility, and I haven't seen him commit those behaviors since. Now, I'm going to go back and tell you what got him canceled and address how he addressed it. Okay, celebrity YouTuber Shane Dawson got canceled because he made past YouTube videos in blackface and using the N-word. We all know how I feel about the N-word. If you've seen a POC POV episode 1, I make it very clear how I feel about the N-word. If you have not seen a POC POV, please take a moment after you watch this video to check it out. Now, mind you, he did an apology video. He addressed the very specific things that he was called out for, doing blackface, using the N-word. He was very direct. He was very specific about the things that he was apologizing for. He deleted the content and all of the past videos with that type of content in it. I haven't seen any of it, publicly on his platforms since he got called out for it. And since then, from then on, I haven't seen any continuation of the behavior. And I haven't seen him do anything that's close to relative to that behavior since he addressed it in the apology video and attempted to make amends. But I still see him being bashed as a racist, which confuses and bothers me because I've grown up being taught if someone comes to you and they genuinely apologize for their behavior, that you accept their apology and you don't hold a grudge and you attempt to move on. And I, as someone who is a marginalized individual on several different facets and several different platforms, I have a certain level of empathy that I can extend to people and form a certain level of understanding with people that I don't think that other people realize that they need to be capable of or that they should be capable of. And this is going out to Black people right now because I believe that some people, I believe that a person can do something that is racist and not be a racist because the behavior is taught. It's not inherited. Hate is taught to people. It is not inherited. You aren't born with hate in your body. Do you understand what I'm saying? You aren't born knowing to hate things that you aren't aware of. Do you understand? So you have to learn these behaviors and learn these prejudices and learn these points of view. So my view on it, is he thought that that was okay because of something or someone telling him that that was normal or showing him that that was not offensive behavior. It's not hard for me to see that happening because once again, just like how I can see how Kevin Hart can make homophobic remarks based on the generation that he grew up in and society's views on homophobia at that time, I can see how Shane Dawson can make racial remarks and not think that he is being offensive or do blackface and not be intending to be offensive to Black people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Um, and like I said in episode 2, you can't be mad at somebody for using something that you sold them, specifically referencing a white person using the N-word. So, you know, that is what it is. I won't go deeper into that. Watch the video, episode 2 of a PLC POV. But I don't find it hard to see that happening based on the society and the country that Shane Dawson grew up in. And I'm not saying it like he's 40. I'm saying it like he's around my age. I'm like 28. I think he's somewhere in that age, somewhere in my age bracket. But I do not find it incomprehensible that he would think that that behavior was okay. So with that being said, I don't subscribe to once a racist, always a racist, because somebody can do things that they think are just okay because of the way that they ingest the information or ingest that behavior. They are going to ingest it thinking that it's okay. I don't think that people genuinely teach, scratch that. In this case, I believe that Shane Dawson ingested this behavior thinking that it was okay and not offensive. And I don't think that he was taught this behavior as a slur or as an offense to Black people. So I think that he deserves to be given a key to the redemption room and to be given a fair second chance, because I still see Black people bashing him for being a racist. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen any behavior since the incident went down where he has continued the behavior. Drop down in my comments if I'm wrong and I'm missing something. Please drop down in the comments, send me receipts, send me links, because just because I'm putting this on video does not mean that I can't come back and change my opinion later once I have further education. So if I'm being naive right now, let me know, because I have thought that and I have wondered, am I being naive? Have you actually learned your lesson? Or are you doing this because you have 23 million followers on, or 23 million subscribers on YouTube, and you want to maintain your public image and that bankroll that this community affords you? And so now that you've pissed them off, you have to make it right. And the majority is better than none when it comes to getting your fans back. So I have thought about that. Is it real? Was the apology real? Just because he's not doing this on social media and on YouTube, and just because he's not making blackface videos for his channel anymore, does that mean that he still doesn't use the N-word when he's in the privacy of his own home? Do you get what I'm saying? I have thought about that, and I don't want to be naive and think that just because a public figure makes an apology to the public that their private behavior changes. I would hope that, but I am also not naive to the fact of somebody spinning something and utilizing the emotions of the public to draw sympathy towards their negative behavior. But I also, on the flip side of that, I don't want to read too deep into it, and I don't want to then participate in the not allowing the space for growth that I'm calling all of you guys for, right? So I want to take the space to offer Shane that, because it is what it is, and he's made the apologies. I haven't seen any of that type of ignorant ass behavior since then, and either way, I've become a fan of his channel recently, and like I said, I haven't seen any of that type of recent behavior. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm a binge watcher. So once I become a fan of you, I want to watch everything you've ever done, right? So I've gone on an entire binge of Shane Dawson material, and since that incident, I have not seen evidence of that, because when Shane Dawson came across my radar, of course, I got the notifications and I got all of the suggestions for the videos about him being a racist. So I did my research and I was like, okay, what the hell? To which I also looked up and saw his apology and looked and seen if there was anything since then. I haven't been able to find anything. So I proceeded into watching his content and becoming a huge fan. So I feel confident in nominating him for a key to the redemption room, okay? I don't know if I have to nominate him for a key to the redemption room, since as far as I know, I'm the one that created it, so I can give him a key if I damn well want to. Shane, hit me up. Because I would love to have a conversation with you about this specific subject and also some other business stuff. But specifically, I do want to have a conversation with you about this subject, because I do think that you are deserving of a second chance, and I do think that you shouldn't still be getting bashed as a racist. If people just want to have a problem with you because they don't like you, that's one thing. But I don't think that people should bash you for behavior that you're no longer committing. Not that any of this matters, because his ass just got to the big bag and just made a whole lot of fucking money with this conspiracy collection. And he probably ain't studying none of our asses and what we think about his motherfucking behavior. No goddamn way. So he's probably somewhere wiping his ass with all of his big bands and not giving a fuck what we think about anything that he's doing any motherfucking way. But hopefully he's doing it with the reform thought process and being a good person and not using inappropriate language to live his best life. Okay? Shane, hit me up. Love the series. Rylan, love your series. Morgan, love you. Andrew, yes, I am filming. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this video because I didn't expect this video to be this long, and I'm also doing In My Queer View today. So I'm going to get ready to reset and get me some more apple juice. And I'm getting ready to reset and shoot In My Queer View in just a minute. So with that being said, what do you guys think about cancel culture? Is it team too much? Are we doing too much by canceling any and everybody for any and everything? Do you think that we're not cracking down enough Do you think that we're not canceling enough people? Or you think that we're letting people slide for shit that we shouldn't be letting them slide on? Can we make redemption culture a thing? And if you guys agree with me that we should make redemption culture a thing, what are your personal requirements for somebody to qualify to be a recipient of a key to the redemption room, right? What do people need to do to get into the redemption room by y'all standards? Let me know. Hit my comments, hit my inboxes. Y'all know where to find me. Shantae Arnett on all platforms. No spaces, no underscores, no periods. It's just at Shantae Arnett on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. All of those things, you can find me everywhere at Shantae Arnett. Leave a comment right here. Leave a message, hit my inbox. I don't think I did this at the beginning of the video, but if I did, I'm gonna say it again. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for hanging out with me and coming by to give me a little bit of your time. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and do all of the things that your favorite YouTubers tell you to do in all of their videos. If you're returning to my channel, hey girl, welcome back. And thank you for coming back and giving me some more of your time. I hope you're still enjoying the show, and thank you for kicking it with me some more. Lock in while I clock in. I'm getting ready to step away for a minute, go on break, and get ready to come back for another shift and shoot in my queer view. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Yeah, start the conversation. Peace.